welcome all to Anatomy and Physiology 1, better known as A&P 1. You'll get to know it as that. This is a completely hybrid course where part of this is going to be in the classroom, where you'll come onto campus. Some of the exams will be there, the laboratory stuff, and also any reviewing of the more challenging lecture material also. It's asynchronous because the videos you could watch, I have all my lecture videos on links to them on Canvas, and you can go to them anytime you want, whether 7 o'clock in the morning, after dinner, whatever you want. So it's asynchronous in that way. There are due dates of items, namely your exams, so you got to have them done by a certain day, but that's what that is. The course code for this is Bio 201, that's BIOL 201, and it's a hybrid course. So this is me, Dr. Gamaro. So let me switch over to stop sharing. Hey, I'm here. Okay, with my two buddies over here. I want to welcome everybody here to Anatomy and Physiology. We're going to have a wonderful time, and you are going to learn a lot. Trust me, okay? A little bit about myself. My name's Dr. Gamaro. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I went to Ohio University for my undergrad. I majored in pre-med zoology. Then I ventured off to medical school in the Caribbean island of Grenada. The school was St. George's University School of Medicine. We do the first 2 years down there, which is bookwork, kind of the stuff that you're doing right now. We would sit down in a classroom, you're listening to anatomy, you're listening to microbiology, you're listening about biochemistry, and you're taking notes and taking exams. So the first 2 years is the wonderful academia, and the last 2 years is what we refer to as the clinical years, where everything we learned about, we now practice on patients in the hospital. But you don't want to practice on dummies or models and stuff. You want actual patients. And of course, people looked over us too, big attending physicians and whatnot. But so we learned how to do all that, with patients. So these clinical years, I had the opportunity to do 1.5 of those years in England. And that's where I kind of bridged my two loves at the time, which was medicine and traveling. And also, since I was closer to a lot of the European countries, just take a train or whichever to get there, or even a plane. I think it was like $100 to go down to Italy. And I even had a friend in Italy. I stayed with him and his parents for a month. About a month. So that's not about anatomy, physiology. But whenever you see those doors open, grab them is what I'm trying to say, man. So anyway, I did that for 1.5 years, the clinical years. In England, saw socialized medicine, realized it won't work in America, but that's another talk for another time. And the last 6 months or so of clinical years I did in New York and New Jersey. Then I entered the field of obstetrics and gynecology. I did that for a number of years. But then there was a time where I had to get knee surgery. My mother had a stroke. She's fine now. Well, she's still nutty, so she's driving though and stuff, but she's fine. But it was during this time where I needed to step back, take care of those things, and medicine was changing. I don't know, it was not what I signed up for. I want to spend time with the patient. I want to, if I'm going to admit them to the hospital, I want to see them. Now it's all different. It's if your doctor wants to admit you to the hospital, you go to the hospital, but then that doctor doesn't have privileges at the hospital. He come visit you, but he can't write orders and stuff like that. There's a so-called hospitalist at the hospital. That person usually does not know you at all. So there's no rapport there. They do call up your doctor, see what the patient was all about and what this is. So they get a rapport with the doctor. But I didn't like the idea that I'm looking over, I'm taking care of a patient and maybe her whole family, and then, you know, when I send them, I don't have full access to go there. Now, at the time, and I still don't think this is happening with OBGYN, which is obstetrics and gynecology, it's more of the general doctor, the internist, the pediatrician and stuff. I just didn't like that. I just don't like the idea that someone else is taking care and then they come, here's the orders and or discharge orders, and then they go and see you know, your doctor for, you know, since after the hospital. It just, I don't know, I think there's a loss of continuity over that. So I wasn't too pleased with that. But when I was working, it wasn't really happening with obstetrics and gynecology. It was happening more, like I said, with the other things. I think it's because they don't want to. If you're going to take care of a woman for, let's say, 9 months, they want that woman, that patient wants to have her doctor deliver her. You know what I'm saying? They don't want someone else. So I think right now that's what's going on. But I just didn't like the whole concept with that. But that's what it is. That's what's happening right now. And when I was working with it as a doctor, I worked with all kinds of medical professionals. Worked with nurses, of course, and physical therapists and occupational therapists and physician assistants, nurse practitioners, just a lot of different aspects, radio techs. So I know what these people have to know with what they're doing. Talking with them, you know, what was your schooling like and so forth. And things have been changing. I've been following up, especially for the nursing. I've been following things, and it seems like in the nursing programs, they want more and more diagnostic stuff from the nursing students. Since they just changed the, and I don't want to go too much into this, but they just changed the NCLEX, which is the licensure exam after you go through nursing school. Then you got to take an exam to get your license so that you could practice. They just added something April 2023 where the testing is. It's kind of an interesting thing where they give you a patient and they say, okay, what's the first thing you want to do? What's the second thing you want to do? What are the side effects that you're seeing? Is this from medicine? Is this from a disease? They want more and more. It's like you have your own patient and then there's like 3 or 4 questions. And it's not just multiple choice. It's more like your next question is based off of how you answer the first question, whether you're going to kill the patient or not. So it's making it interesting how things are going. So it's more, what I'm trying to say is that there's more diagnosing they want. So I've been trying to change things in the way I teach. And right now I'm enjoying it. So anyway, what was happening, let me go back to my story really quick. And so where was I? So things were changing. I had the knee surgery. My mother had a stroke. And then I said, well, what else could I do in my MD? I mean, I could go back to the medicine, but the clinical aspect, and someone mentioned teaching. And I'm like, no, I taught medical students, and junior residents, but I don't know. So I tried it, and here I am like 20 years later, and I'm still doing this and loving it. I'm doing a lot of teaching, especially anatomy and physiology, pathophysiology, that's my favorite. That's about diseases and what's the mechanism of diseases. Biology courses, microbiology, medical terminology, all that kind of stuff. So it's more the biological sciences that I do, genetics and stuff. So been doing that ever since. Was doing that in New Jersey, and then I got married, and it was easier for me to relocate than her, and so I moved from New Jersey to Boston, Massachusetts, and that's where I am now. This is not my room. All three, the 2 buddies over here. I'd be too nerdy if I had these guys over here, but anyway, still like my Star Wars. Anyway, so I moved up there and I started doing more teaching up here, and that's how I got to Massasoit Community College. That's how I'm working over here. So that's a little bit about me and enjoying. I'm doing not the clinical aspect, but I'm doing the educational aspect. And I know what you guys need to know in the real world. So my questions, the way I teach is, yeah, there's memory. I'm not going to lie. And you know that there is memorization in here, but it's using the memorization stuff of certain structures and how do you apply it? That's what you really want to know is how do you apply this stuff? Yeah, the bicycle that has a handlebar and that's a pedal over there, but how do you ride a bike? How does it, okay, I put my hands on these things called the handles, but what is that? So you want to be able to apply it. And the questions that I do is I'm adding a lot of diseases, not heavy, but I do put diseases in here because I believe that if you put a disease, it emphasizes why the normal stuff is important to know. You'll get a hang of it with the way I'm teaching. A lot of students love this and gets them very prepared. I don't get many thank yous now. I get them 2 years later. Many people are thanking me. So with that kind of stuff, it was confirmation. I needed to continue the way I'm doing it. And it'll get your mind focused. I would imagine everybody in this class is going to some sort of medicine. It's not like the biology course where you're gonna get non-science majors. No one's taking anatomy and physiology for fun, but it's going to be a good journey with this. So enough about me. That's basically how I got here and what's the whole story. And I've been teaching ever since. So what I want you to do is follow along with the syllabus. The syllabus, I'm hoping that you printed out the syllabus. It is quite a few pages, maybe 27 to 30 pages or so. So I just want to go through the whole thing with you. The first couple pages is introduction. Just read that on your own. I'll go over a couple things, my PowerPoint over here, but we'll kind of go through the whole thing and we'll talk about Canvas and what we're going to find on there. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so again, this is me over here. So first things first, just want to say that there is an entering survey or a questionnaire, very easy to maneuver. It's just now you know a little bit about me, I want to know a little bit about you. It'll only take 5 minutes to complete. You'll see it in Canvas. It's things like, what's your phone number, email address, what do you want to be referred to, what's your major, what other courses you're taking. It's on one side, one page. It's, like I said, 5 minutes to do it. So get that out of the way. And you'll hear me say this a few times, I think. It always feels good to put an X in a checkbox, right? Okay, so yeah, the hybrid students, which you are, yeah, you'll see it in a syllabus folder. Just download it, complete it, save it, change the file name because you're going to have to. Change it to like your name, Jane Smith, John Smith, and so forth. And then email to me on day one. So just get that out of the way. All right, so the course description, this is basically a course. The course is 2 parts, right? And it's about how your body works. Think of it as a manual about yourself, right? You want to know, why is it that I have hiccups? Why is it that, when I smell food, my mouth starts watering? Why does it hurt when I stub my toe and it doesn't, like when I stub my toe, I don't get the pain right away until a few seconds later. Now I got the pain. Why does that happen? So we're going to answer those kinds of questions in here by understanding how the normal anatomy works. And like I said, I'm going to, bring in some diseases to make it interesting, especially since everybody here, I'm sure, is going to the medical field. Now, always keep in mind, you're in A&P1, but this is not a 15-week course. This is a 30-week course. Everything you're going to need, everything you learn in A&P1, you need for A&P2. And of course, you need to know everything from A&P1 and A&P2. You're going to use that if you're going into the medical field, right? This is the foundation. So think of this as only 15 weeks of a 30-week course, okay? If you're taking this in the summer, obviously it's going to be highly condensed. It could be a 5-week course, a 10-week course. And of course, if you're taking it as a hybrid course, it has its own challenges. because everything is on your own. But I'm not going to throw you the book and say, hey, look, here's the book, you're on your own. No, you're going to get a lot of emails from me. You're going to see me at least once or twice a week. You're going to feel the presence that I am here. It's not something that I would only see you once a week and that's it. I will send emails, not every day, but like once every few days or once every other day, or maybe there's 2 or 3 times I'm going to email you in one day. And you email me too. I'm going to check my emails every 2 to 3 days. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm going to check emails 2 to 3 times a day. Yes, 2 to 3 times a day, and every day. And I want you to do the same thing too, at least twice a day, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, because I probably will be sending quite a few emails like 2 times in the same day. So I don't want you to miss those. Okay, so, but I'm here for you. And of course you could ask questions in class when we see each other. So Anatomy and Physiology 1, A&P 1, our course here, I kind of seem to think that we could break it up into 2 portions. The first 20% is really basics, just terminology that we're going to be using throughout, you're going to be using and I'm going to be using for the rest of your life if you're going into the medical field. Also, histology is the study of, you learned about cells in biology. Now, what happens when the cells start gluing together? Well, now you got tissues. So the study of tissues is something called histology. And keep in mind that the things you've learned with cytology, the cell, and chemistry in your biology course, I'm going to assume, because you need to get a C or better in the biology course to get into this course, I'm going to assume that you master that material, and I'm going to use those terms. And whoever you have for A&P 2, they're going to be using the terms. You need to know what an ion is, what the nucleus does, and so forth, mitosis and meiosis, because that's all going to be we're going to expand much more with that. Okay, so there may be times where you need to go back to the biology book that you have and look over a few things. Now, the other 80% is where we're actually going to get ourselves into the systems, the body systems. We're going to start off with skin, which is relatively small, and then the skeletal system, and then the muscular system, and then the huge, enormous nervous system, which is like 5 or 6 chapters in your book. But that's all we're going to have time to do in A&P 1. When we get into A&P 2, it's more like a bullet train. We're just going body system after body system after body system until we could finish all of those. From endocrinology with the hormones, to blood with hematology, the heart, all the way down to reproductive. We're going to cover all that. So that's why I said this A&P 1 is just one part. You need to get the other part to understand how the whole body works. Now, taking a hybrid course in anatomy and physiology, there is some requirements that you're going to need to know. Now, I'm hoping that you're following along. We're on page 3 or 4 in your syllabus. So there's 4 things you definitely need, okay? These are going to be almost common sense, but I do want to expand a little bit more with this because some things are not common sense in these details. You do need a digital device. A laptop, desktop, or Chromebooks you could use for everything. However, if you have a smartphone and tablet and you intend to do your exams online on here, not going to happen. They just are not compatible. So you could use your laptop, desktop, and Chromebook for everything, including the exams. But you could use your smartphone and tablet if you want to read the text. If you want to read my PowerPoint, so if you want to watch the videos, sure. But when it comes to online exams, not good, okay? The internet access, sure, you need that. Now, you need a good Wi-Fi connectivity. The best thing is when you have, especially for an exam, you don't want to have in the middle exam, things are starting to slow down and you can't get to, because the time is still ticking. So the best thing is in your house, you should be closest to what we call the router. Now, I don't want to be condescending. I don't know if everybody knows what this is because some people refer to it as the modem, which is wrong. The modem is in your computer. The router is that blinking box that you have in some place in your house. And that router is going to spread the Wi-Fi to TVs and cell phones and computers and so forth. So if you're closest to it, that kind of takes first priority. So keep that in mind. All right. So try and get as close to that. If you don't have that, you could go to Panera's, you could go to Starbucks, you could go to campus. On campus has a wonderful, strong connectivity. So speaking of strong connectivity, the best thing to have is at least 15 megabytes per second. Now, I don't expect you to know megabytes per second, but if you know the internet service, they go by that. A lot of people have 200. So just to give an idea of how that is in reference to what maybe a lot of people have, you may have 200 coming into your house, which is good, but you don't need all that. With a strong connection, 20 to 25 megabytes per second is a nice cushion to have. Because what happens here is that you have to mind the internet traffic that's happening in your house. If you have your brother playing, doing gaming with action games, and your mother's watching, The Crown on Netflix, streaming and gaming really hoard a lot of those megabytes per second. A lot. Whether you want to watch YouTube videos on a smartphone or TikTok, whatever. That's going to take it. So that if you're getting 20 megabytes per second, by the time it gets to you, you might only have, let's say, 10 megabytes per second because it's going to the other people too. So that's what I'm saying is just make sure when you want to take the exam that you explain to your household guests, can you not do these things for at least 1 hour for the exam if you have an online exam. But like I said, there are other places. You can go to Starbucks, you can go to Panera, but a nice quiet place at the library of the school on the campus is always available, always available. So that's a place that you can go to too. Okay. You can only use Google Chrome or Firefox as your browser. You cannot use the Internet Explorer Edge, or for Apple users, Safari. These things are not compatible, especially for the exams. There's images that are in some of my online exams, and especially I noticed with the Safari, they don't see those images. So they're asking questions about an image in a question, and you can't even see it. So the only thing that's, if you have Google Chrome or Firefox, even if you have Safari, but you're an Apple user, no problem, but you could download Google Chrome or Firefox. So that's the safest things to use. The third thing you need is a webcam with a working microphone. Now, we're going to use this if we have online exams, and for any kind of office hours, we'll do a virtual appointment by Zoom, okay? So you do need to have a webcam with a microphone. Like I said, we're going to use Zoom, and you'll get a Zoom invitation before an exam, an online exam, a few days before, okay? Or if I have to make a Zoom appointment with you. Any online exam and quizzes, they will be video recorded, and they will be proctored by me. So we're not using another third party for proctoring. I know a lot of schools do that, but I'll be watching you throughout the exam. Your eyes should always be directed to the monitor at all times. No exam is open book, and you cannot go and visit other websites during the exams. I get a little ding saying that this person is going to another, and then I'll just have to shut down your computer because you're going to another website. So just don't do that. I may even ask everybody to do have their webcam turned 360 degrees so that I can see your areas, your walls, your desktop, so that there's no charts or notes or diagrams that are nearby. And that's good to make sure you're not cheating, but it's also good that your classmates know that if they have to do it, you got to do it too, okay? So this creates a virtual face-to-face testing for if we have to do lab exams, which I'll talk about too, okay? So we'll get into that. The other thing that we need is a disarticulated skeleton, meaning a skeleton that is all broken apart like this. Now, I was able to I talked to the department and they allowed me to have you get a disarticulated skeleton, but on loan. So we're going to be doing that. Okay, it's just for the Massasoit Community College students for at least the semester that we're talking about here. And they'll be distributed on a certain day. You'll have a box of bones, and they have to be returned on the final exam day. If they are not returned on final exam day, you will be charged, and it will go on your account. Not a good thing, because if it's not paid up, then you can't take another course for the next semester. I also have it where when we finish lab exam number 2, which means that we are finished with the bone unit, then I will give you the 5 bonus points. And most students will usually bring it in by then and not have to worry about it. Okay, then we'll count all the bones, make sure they're there. We'll do that like a week later. Not you, but me and the department will do that. Make sure there's no markings or anything on there. Okay, so because these bones are going to be used for future students in upcoming semesters. The other thing is, I'm not requiring this, but just suggest it. You could also get Amazon and some other places, you could get a small 17, 18-inch articulated skeleton. It's not necessary, but sometimes you may want to see how this bone connects with that bone. Now, we do have full articulated skeletons that are human size in the laboratory, but sometimes you may want to take a look at that at your own leisure. So this could help you with that, but I'm not requiring that at all. It just could help you a little bit. Okay. All right. So those were the 4 things that you need. The course information, we are now probably around 6 or 7 on your syllabus. The prerequisite, again, as I told you, you need to have Biological Principles 1 under your belt, the Bio 121, or it's equivalent if you came from another school. You have to have a grade of minimum of C-, which is 70%. And like I told you before, since you took it, I expect you to know that stuff. There's no time, as you can see, there's no time to review that stuff from there. We just are going to be building on it. Okay. The class dates just refer to the syllabus. It is 4 credits, the lecture and lab exams. The days vary, the times vary, and whether it's going to be done in the classroom, in person, or online. Again, just look at the syllabus and you will see if this is the semester that will have that. Okay. Again, my name's Dr. Gamaro. Office hours, I really don't have office hours. We could meet like right after class, but then I have another class. I may have another class afterwards, but we could always meet up via Zoom too. So we could do that too. Contact information, the best way, the only way is Canvas. And I'll show you where that is. There's an inbox in Canvas. Don't use my Massasoit.edu email. It just gets thrown in with all the other wonderful mail that I get from book representatives and stuff from the college and meetings I have to go to. And really, you are my priority more than, let's say, meetings and the Pearson books or whatever. So I don't want to get lost in there. If you email me through Canvas, I know it's from a student. So I need you to do it that way. Check the Canvas, as I mentioned to you. Check the Canvas at least twice a day. I'll check it 2 or 3 times a day, every day. We'll go with that. If it's urgent and you're not getting an answer very fast, then you could call up the faculty offices. They have my cell phone number and they can get in touch with me. I do have an email address, but I don't want you to use it ever during the semester. This is for after the semester when your name comes off of Canvas and you want to reach out to me. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be in Massasoit, next year or 10 years from now, but Yahoo, and they're, as long as they're in business, and they're doing pretty good so far. I only use this address, the Yahoo one, for students. So if you need to get in touch with me, let's say a year later, you want a letter of recommendation, it doesn't matter if I'm in Alaska or if I'm in California, New Jersey, it doesn't matter. I'll get your emails that way, okay? So, but don't use the Yahoo one until after the course is over. So really quick, I know I did this already, but just sum it up on one page. The things you need is a digital device. Again, Desktop, laptop, Chromebook are the things that you could use for everything. Smartphone or a tablet, be very mindful because you can't do exams with that. The internet access, I would suggest at least 20 to 25 megabytes per second coming in. Mind the internet traffic. And remember, you can only use Google Chrome or Firefox. You cannot use Internet Explorer Edge or Safari. It's not compatible, especially with the online exams. Make sure you have a webcam with a working microphone, and the disarticulated skeleton, at least with this semester, is going to be given to you on loan. With the understanding that you will bring it back by final exam day, but you could also bring it back anytime before that, okay? The textbooks that we're going to use, well, in conjunction this course, Anatomy and Physiology, I like the Martini book. You don't need to get the latest edition. Anatomy has not changed for the past 100 years. The physiology, I guess the science has changed. Like what was once an itch is now an allergy, but really hasn't changed in the past 30 years anyway. So it doesn't matter. Everything on my exams is going to be based off of my video lectures and my PowerPoints, but you want to have a book as a extra resource, a good resource, so that you can go to it if you're still confused about a certain concept, okay? The lab manual, the one that the school likes to use, and I like to use too, is the MARIB, M-A-R-I-E-B is the name of the, I guess that's how you pronounce her name, the author. Human Anatomy and Physiology Lab Manual. Again, it doesn't matter what edition, but meaning like what number edition, 3rd edition, 10th edition, 30th edition. But you need to make sure if whatever edition you get, it is the cat version, because in A&P2, you're going to be dissecting the cat as opposed to the rabbit and the pig, okay, the fetal pig. So make sure you get the cat version if you're going to get it. All right, so I've been talking so much about Canvas. Let's shoot over to Canvas, and I'll it's just easier if I just show you, okay? So we'll do that now.